Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Cher, and today I'm going to be covering Airbrush Foundation again. So I have done several videos out there on Airbrush Foundation. Mostly I have used Luminess, and it's because they have kindly gifted me their systems pretty often, and I've worked with them some in the past, and I actually use their system for all of my clients. I am a freelance makeup artist. I have used Temp2 as well, so I'm familiar with Temp2. I don't have it, but I have, tried it before. But those are the only two systems I've used. I have had questions from folks in my audience wanting to know if I could compare the Sephora Airbrush Foundation. And so I finally got it because I picked it up on the Sephora sale, and it was such a great deal. And I was like, finally, today is the day that I'm going to try it. So now that it is in my hands, we're going to test it out today. I think I'm going to maybe do like half a face of Sephora and half a face of Luminess, and maybe compare the two because that's what I have on hand right now. I do have a video out there where I compared Luminess to regular traditional foundation to demonstrate, but I want to compare the airbrush systems. So anyway, if that interests you, stick around and let's dig in and get started on testing this out and see what it's like. So a couple of caveats real quick before we get started. One is that I had to buy it in a shade that is not really my shade. I think it's going to be a little too light for me because that's just, everything was selling out. And this was on sale big time. It was only like $8 on the sale. And normally I think it's about $20. So everybody was snatching it up. And of course the Sephora collection was like 30% off on top of that. So there was only like one shade left or something. So I had to just kind of either get that or not at all. I'm thinking that medium would have been a better one for me, but this shade is light. So do excuse the shade. The shade might be off, but I did want to still get it and see if I could just try it for the finish and see what it's like from that regards. Okay, the second thing I wanted to point out is that I went ahead and put primer on, and it's a regular primer, not an airbrush type, not one of the ones that came with these systems. I don't have a primer, like a special airbrush one that goes with the Sephora one. So now one does come with the Luminess, but I didn't want to put on like the Luminess one on the whole face and test it with this because I feel like this is part of the Luminess system, if that makes sense. And I want it to kind of be fairly even on both sides to just truly test out the foundation itself. So I just wanted to kind of control for that factor. So just letting you know, I just have on a regular primer. Normally you might want to get the primer that goes with the airbrush. Okay, third, I want to address one more caveat. We're going to talk about this for a moment. I have a few videos out there that involve Luminess where I was trying systems. I've gotten so many comments. The number one complaint or comment that I got was how far out I was holding these systems, whatever systems they were. So I want to point out, Luminess says hold this 3 inches away from the face. Sephora says hold it 10 inches. I can't remember what Temp2 was. And then Luminess has another system that's more like the gun. And I can't remember how far it was. Was it like an inch? It might have been 3 inches too. But I just want to let you know, I do clients all the time with airbrush. I put it on them. I've watched several other makeup artists as well do airbrush. Some hold it out here. Some hold it here. Some hold it here. I don't critique where they hold the airbrush at. What matters is watch how it's going on your face. If it's not like getting on there at all, you're probably holding it too far. If it's getting on there too intense and like smudging and, too concentrated, you're probably holding it too close. You need to make a judgment call of like, where is it going on? I'm not going to pull out a ruler and decide, okay, this is exactly 3 inches. I'm just not. And if I started going out too far while I was spraying it, whatever. It is not that big a deal, guys, okay? Already primed, so let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the Sephora. What side of the face should we do? I'm gonna try like one side of the face Sephora and one side Luminess. We're gonna try it like they suggest at first, but if I start seeing it going weird, I'm gonna adjust where I hold it, okay? Ooh, okay. I need to put a cap in my hair. Cause see, this is what happens. It looks good though. You know what? It might actually be the right shade for me after all. Yeah. Yeah, so I always recommend putting a cap or something on your hair, because this is what happens. And that's what I do with my clients. I put their hair up. Wow, guys, that actually looks really good. Like, I mean, I'm super impressed already. Yeah, this goes on a lot quicker than the Luminess. Look at that. Let's try the Luminess side. Since I already got it all in my hair over here, I'm just not gonna worry about it, and I'll just go with it. All right, so this one says 3 inches. Let's try 3 inches so that everybody won't have a conniption. And just pointing out, okay, 3 inches. 3 inches is like one, I don't know, like that. Okay, maybe like that. Is that right? I don't know. Y'all are still gonna probably have a hissy fit about it and be cracking up and all that. Okay, so, woo! It is all in my hair now. Okay, and this one, they have a brush to go with it. So then you like spread this one out more with the brush. Because this one's made for a brush with it. So, oh my God, look at my hair, y'all. I'm gonna have to go take a shower already. This is ridiculous. Why didn't I put my little cap on? Okay. And the ear too. All right. So clearly the Luminess goes on more intense. Now I was holding it the face a lot closer as it instructed. I'm seeing a lot more texture on the Luminess side, and the Sephora is really like just sopping into the skin beautifully. I have to admit, so far I am liking the Sephora better. And I didn't use a blush to blend it or anything. You just sprayed this one almost like you do with the gun. It actually looks pretty beautiful, doesn't it? And it's covering, like I almost don't even feel like I need another cover. Wow. Okay, now another pro and con between these two was in the Sephora shades, there was only like maybe 5 shades at the most. And on sale, there was only 1 shade left. But, you know, normally I think there was only, it was like, it might have even been only 3 shades. You only have like a light, a medium, and a dark or something. So you're going to be very limited on your number of shades. Whereas in the Luminess and in like Temp 2 also, you have tons of shades to choose from. I mean, I feel like there was at least maybe 20. So you're going to get more accurate on your shading on the other systems. But so far, like I am in love with the finish of this because it's very light and airy, which is what airbrush is supposed to be. Airbrush is supposed to be a better option where it really covers, it gives you a very like flawless, all one-toned like look that's kind of matte and looks amazing in photography, but that doesn't feel cakey. It's supposed to like feel like skin. And this side feels so much more like it than this side. This is matty and textury. How about my lines and wrinkles? Let's look at that. I mean, like you see my like jawline right here. That's not really a wrinkle, but it's just, you know, where I do have my natural jaw. Like you see a lot more amplified here than on this side. So if those are wrinkles, but then again, I don't see the wrinkle as much here, and I do see this wrinkle. Interesting. Okay. So it's just, but part of that might just be, this is heavier coverage. I'm trying to think too, think about like on TV, on camera, it looks different than in person. And airbrush is really good for on camera. So I'm trying to think of like, how does this look? I still love this side though. It just looks so much more like skin, doesn't it? This one looks caked. Both of them look pretty glowy still, even though, you know, an airbrush will give you like a matte finish. Wow. That's something. Yeah, but this side is definitely, like, I'm seeing all my pores. I'm seeing it just, like, really matte up. And this side looks a lot more, you know, even spread, and, like, it's not, I see no texture, you know? I love it. I love it. Okay, what I'm going to do, guys, I think I'm going to remove this, and then I'm going to put on a whole face of it, put on a full face of makeup, and I'm going to do a wear test today, and I'll come back to you and meet you back in here. What I might go ahead and do is, once I remove this and put the new on, I'll show you what it looks like on a whole face so you can get a feel for that. And then, yeah, we'll do a wear test, and I will report back. Okay, guys, I'm back. I had to wash out all the crap out of my hair. This is what I do for my clients. I put on a little cap. I know I look like... Back to my first job. Do you know my first job that I got was working in a deli? I made people sandwiches. Yeah, and I had to wear one of these things. And it was very embarrassing. I was like late high school, and I was like, oh my gosh. I had gone in applying for a job at Publix, and I wanted to be a cashier, you know, and they gave me the deli. Yeah, anyway, all right, 10 inches out, so we're gonna go way out. Okay, I know that I keep going in far, whatever. Okay, and obviously, normally I do eyes first on clients and then the base and everything, but if they're doing foundation, I usually always start off with the foundation, and this is why, because, you know, it even got into the brows a little bit, and you definitely want to put your hair up. So I usually try to do makeup first before they've had hair done if we're going to do airbrush. So also, just so you know, I still follow up with powders and set everything just like we normally would. And this is crazy. I don't normally have hair, but it's making it look like I have hair. Yeah, I think it is like along here where my hairline is. It's really sticking out. If you've ever watched my, I'm going to link a video here for you talking about if you're a candidate for airbrush or not. Check that video out. If you have any kind of skin sensitivities, facial hair, that kind of thing, then airbrush is probably not for you. I also don't recommend it as much for mature skin, like the more wrinkles, because it can really amplify. It's a pretty like matte formula. So I'm kind of that in between, like, you know, I have wrinkles and somewhat mature skin, but I'm not there yet too bad. So I'm just kind of going back over with a brush to even it out more. This is the Luminess brush, but it's good for just, you know, diffusing airbrush makeup. And yeah, so here it is. I really don't think that the shade is too bad on me after all. I'm going to go ahead and do a full face of makeup now, and I will meet you back here in a minute, and we'll see how it all looks once makeup is on top, but I wanted you to get a feel for it. I think it looks really good. I Yeah. I see more texture here now, but not nearly as much as what I saw with the Luminess side. But it's definitely a thinner layer. I don't feel like the coverage was bad though. Do you guys? Let me know what you think. All right, I'll be back in a minute. Okay guys, and here is with a full face of makeup on. My hair is still drying. I had to like get all the foundation out of it. So it looks really good. It's really looking matte on the camera, I can tell. And this is what Airbrush is so fabulous for, is for photography. It just has that uniform look on camera. And this is why it's so popular in weddings and, you know, for TV and all of that. So far, I'm very impressed. I love how this looks. And I do still think it was a good skin tone match. So light was actually just right for me, I think. I would not have guessed that. I noticed a slight bit of texture still though coming through, especially on this side. I do notice, like before I put on the extra makeup and everything, I was noticing it really sinking into my fine lines and wrinkles, like up on my forehead and amplifying them. Like when I was looking in the mirror, you might not be able to pick up on it as well in photography. But in person, I do feel like it's kind of creeping into the fine lines more. And I feel like it's doing that a little more than the Luminess was. However, it's still so much more light and airy than the Luminess. And I think it still has pretty good coverage. So, and you know, usually the more cakey and the more heavy a foundation, the more it settles into your lines and wrinkles. So it's interesting that it seems opposite in this case. So I don't know, but it's something about the finish. But I think it does look fantastic on camera. So I'm going to test this out for the day and see how it holds up. I have appointments to take my kids to. It is, you know, in the morning. I'm doing this right now. And I probably won't be able to get back to you guys until tonight. So I think that would be a pretty good wear test. It will probably be at least, what time is it now? 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It'll be at least 8 hours of wear by the time I get to you guys. So I think that'll be a good test of how well it held up. And I will report back to you in a little bit, okay? So I'll see you then. Hey guys, it is the end of the day now. It has been at least 8 hours. So let's see how it performed. I did do, you know, setting powders, but I forgot to do any setting spray. So keep that in mind. I would put setting spray on the clients, you know, but I feel like my forehead wrinkles are really showing through. What do you guys think? Yeah. Let's see, coverage wise. Oh, it might have held up coverage wise, but I do feel like it's kind of sunk into the skin more, like more wrinkles are coming through, maybe textures. All right. Other makeup has faded too, but I don't feel like it's too bad as far as like coverage, but I feel like it's just sinking into cracks a little bit more and showing a little more texture. That'd be my only thing. But really, like, not too bad. I think my other makeup has faded a little bit, like my contour. I feel more washed out now, you know, than I did earlier. Of course, I still have like foundation in my hair, so I feel like it's gray roots, but it's not because I just recently dyed my hair. So I don't know, overall, not bad at all. I honestly, especially for the price, like I think that I saw that full size was $20 and the Luminess is like $39. Was it? No, that was for the little bottles for the airbrush gun. I can't remember. It was Luminess System altogether with the primer, I want to think was like maybe $40, $50 if I remember that correctly. So if you break it down and you were only to get the foundation, you're probably looking at like $25. So this is probably slightly cheaper, but you know, when you're not catching it on sale. So, but it's really it's not too bad, I think. Now it says it's oil-free, Insta-Blend pigment technology. What I really liked about it, so the pros and cons, I felt like the Luminess was a lot thicker and heavier, and the Sephora just like sunk right into the skin like skin, you know, the way that airbrush is kind of supposed to, I think. So I think finish wise, I really preferred the Sephora, but the Luminess, I don't notice all the wrinkles as much with the Luminess and as the day goes on either. And I feel like it's just very sharp on camera. I feel like this one looked great on camera at first, and it's not bad now, but I do feel like it's settling in the lines a little bit more. When you get all your makeup on with the Luminess, like, it looks good. You know, it doesn't look as crazy as it did before when it was pretty thick. So overall, I'd say that Sephora is pretty good, but it's a lot lighter weight. It's probably going to work out for those of you who don't have as mature skin as I do. It will probably be perfect for you if you have good skin that you're not worried as much about texture. Yeah, I think it'll be good for you guys. So, but I mean, not bad at all. Like, I may stock up on more of these in the future, to be honest with you. I think it was easier to work with too than the Luminess. It was like, the Luminess was messy. And maybe it was because I held it 3 inches from my face. And if I had held it 10 inches like the Sephora, maybe I would have had better results like I did before. Because before, and sometimes when I just do it my way without worrying about how you guys are caring about how far away it is, it's not usually that messy for me. And I apply it so much easier when I spray it from a pretty far distance. So that could have made a difference too, to be honest with you. So y'all can stop razzing me about it. All right, but I'm not bitter or anything, am I? All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope that that was at least helpful for you. That was my take on it and just kind of my experience of playing with it. I've been wanting to do this video for a long time and try out the Sephora, and I'm glad that I finally got to, and I will probably be getting more of this in the future. So that wraps it up. Make sure that you stick around and pop the subscribe button if you're interested in more reviews like this one. And I do a lot of other things like beauty boxes and unboxings and fun makeup looks and try-ons and even travel vlogs. So you won't want to miss all the fun. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.